Many of these dudes will continue to be lonely simply because of how they treat women. There are so many different examples that we see day to day in relationships, dating apps, just simply how they speak to women. So let's look at this post from this woman. She says, I slept with a new guy for the first time and felt he was rude to me. Was he? Now she's asking about this. She slept with him. They've only been dating for a month, but she did post this in the relationship advice. And this is obviously not a relationship, but let's look at the post. All right, so she's 29, he's 34. She says, dating a new guy for a month. He was a gentleman and very kind towards me. He very recently just told me how much he liked me and that I'm pretty, but most of all, I'm a kind person with a good heart, which is most important above anything. His intentions seem genuine towards me. We had texted or spoken on the phone every day up until Thursday when I came to his side of the city we live in and we went out for cocktails and to watch a band play. Afterwards, we went back to his place, which was around the corner from the venue. Everything felt right, and we slept together for the first time. First time I'd had sex in 9 months. It was very good, passionate. We both enjoyed it. Everything I thought it would be. The second it was over and he'd finished, he exclaimed how good it was. Then he got off of me and walked into his kitchen to check his phone, which was charging on the kitchen worktop. He lives in an apartment, so I could see this from his bed. He then stood there and watched the football highlights. He then started to type for a while, so I assumed he was replying to text messages. Then he went and sat on the sofa for a few minutes. He eventually came back in his room, didn't say a word, just plugged in his phone to charge and set his alarm for 7 a.m. We were both off work the next day. He said, you can stay if you want, but just so you know, I'll be up at 7 a.m. I want to go to the gym. Night. He said this while his back was to me. Then he went straight to sleep, not facing me. I stayed on the other side of the bed and eventually fell asleep myself. I felt awkward being there. He wanted her to feel awkward. He wanted her to leave. That's the reason why he's walking all around his apartment, doing all of these things, just biding time, hoping that she would take the hint and just go. Alarm went off at 7 a.m. We both woke up. I said good morning. He replied in kind. Again, no touching or looking over at me. He jumped straight out of the bed. We got to sleep at 2 a.m., so I'm pretty tired. But I get up out of the bed myself and go to his bathroom. By the time I get out, he's looking through his wardrobe, deciding what he wants to wear for the day. I sit on his bed and book my Uber. I attempt to make small talk and ask more about his plans for the day with his friend. Again, he doesn't look at me while replying, just look through his wardrobe. At this point, I felt like I'd served my purpose the night before and was no longer necessary. My Uber arrives. He walks me to his door. The Uber driver has parked at the end of his street due to road works that has been taking place over the week. He says bye to me as I walk down the road. This was on Friday night, Thursday morning. No, did you get home okay? Or I had a good night text. Nothing for over 2 days until an hour ago when he texted simply, recovered yet. I have not texted back and don't think I even want to see him again. My friend is trying to convince me he was just busy today, but being busy has never stopped him before. We had text every day. And to be honest, I'm put out by how distant he was after we had sex the first time. He knows I don't have casual sex and hadn't slept with anyone for over 9 months. I felt like his behavior was inconsiderate and I feel quite used. I wasn't expecting a marriage proposal after sex, just basic eye contact, conversation, and maybe a hug. My friend thinks I'm overreacting. Am I? I don't think this woman is overreacting. I do think she was used. And what's crazy about this situation, they had been talking, they had been connecting, and they were dating. And then he does this. This does kind of suck. So this woman is now going to bring herself back out of the dating game because it sucks, because they will wear this mask. They will do all that they can to get a nut. And then that's it. But it's just so baffling to me. Why can't they just continue to be nice? You'll get you can connect, you'll have someone to talk to. So this is another reason why they will continue to be lonely, because as soon as he got a nut, he just left her alone. He used her as a masturbatory tool and then just left her there. That doesn't respect her humanity at all. I am simply disgusted by this, and yeah, I feel for her and how she felt at the end. I could just imagine how lonely it felt to be seen as a masturbatory tool, and then he's just clicking around on his phone or watching football highlights, and then puts his back to her. This is just so disrespectful and disgusting to me. Ladocia says, I promise you the next thing you hear from him is I'm not ready for anything serious right now. Glad Mulberry says, I disagree. The next thing you hear from him will be, you up? Akash Nu says, I was going to say exactly this, way too obvious. At the bottom, what Unsainted Heretic says, they're not mutually exclusive. Yeah, both could totally happen. Noir Queen Rule says, or WYD, simply that. What are you doing? We got Paleontologist OK saying, even the I'm not ready guys treated me with more respect than this. Ladocia says, those who were genuinely not ready, perhaps. The one who just pretend to get in your pants, though. Little Perspective says, recovered from what? His personality? That made the OP laugh. I'm glad that she's laughing. Kelp Kelso says, I was thinking the same thing. Asking if you're recovered from, I assume he means sex as well. Embarrassing at his age. This man is embarrassing. Any Champion says, I would literally respond with this. LOL. At the bottom, this person says, I hope the OP does and reports back. Yeah, just simply respond with LOL. Old Creaker says, he wanted to put his D in you. He did, and now he's done. There's no indication of interest in you beyond that. The clincher here will be when all of a sudden he's attentive again only because he wants to get together for a repeat performance. And she says, yes, I gathered that soon as he texted me. I imagine he wants to keep me on the side for sex when convenient. My friend thinks I'm paranoid. Her friend is ridiculous if she is paranoid, especially given the distance and they were texting and calling each other more often. You know, you're crazy says, just because your friend puts up with the behavior does not mean you should. Some women value being in a relationship, even a bad one, over their own self-respect. You don't need to be that person. I guarantee you'll end up happier having some standards. Sonic says, I wish I could upvote this comment 1,000 times. Your friend has no standards. You know your worth. You know he treated you poorly. Don't give him the chance to do it again. Block. Cheap Challenge says, your friend isn't very bright. Nylil says, the recovered yet is also very telling. Like, did he think of himself as some kind of sex god and he was that good in bed that you need to recover now? You're not paranoid. Even my friends with benefits gave me more aftercare than this dude ever will. Please don't do this. Don't be a masturbatory tool for a man. It doesn't feel good. You feel empty. Like, yeah, he simply just used this woman. And she thought that they were dating. He thought, what do I need to do in the bare minimum to get this nut out? And he did that. And so they're not aligned. Nowhere here says he just used you for sex and he was being obvious about it. Once he finished, the switch flipped and he really didn't care whether you were there or not after. And then this woman says, I think it's a woman, I don't know. I think he wanted her to leave. And then I'll end with Jen saying, gross. Yeah, he really has no intention or interest in seeing you again. I think the only reason he said anything about staying was you weren't getting ready to go, and him going out into the living room. I think he was expecting you to be getting ready to leave, but then he came back and you still weren't. Well, I guess she's planning to stay, laughing my butt off. To me, that was the cue to get out of there without him having to tell you to leave. This was supposed to be a one-night stand that turned into a sleepover, and it was awkward for everyone. Don't see him again. This won't turn into a relationship. It will turn into a booty call. And that's all it was. That's all she is to him. Y'all go ahead and chime in. When you get to the point where you're saying, I resent my husband, it's time to start creating a game plan to get out. She posted this in the marriage subreddit saying, I resent my husband. All right, let's see what is going on. So she's 39, he's 36. She says, where to begin? Me and my husband are barely hanging on. Prior to getting married, I only knew he had an alcohol addiction, which he was in recovery when we met. However, I found he's addicted to anything that gives him a dopamine rush, be it corn, Adderall, Xanax, gas station energy pills, etc. You name it. We probably had issues with it in our short 4-year marriage. So she's only 4 years into this. She says, not to mention his family is nosy and stuff that is discussed between the two of us regarding our stances on money, religion, for example, all go back to his parents. About a year ago, we received a text from his mother about how she can't stay quiet anymore because she said we are both going to go to hell because we don't go to church. He never stood up for us or told her she overstepped. It took me 3 months to calm down before I had to be the one to call a meeting with her and tell her that it wasn't her place. I'm already seeing so many reasons for them to divorce. She's only 4 years into this and she's already experiencing all of this. This woman needs to make a game plan to get away. But there's more reasons to escape. He wants a trad wife, but yet him and his family roped us into an old farmhouse that took 2 years to renovate, and now we are house poor. So he wants me to have a full-time job, but yet when I get home from work, 100% of the household duties are my responsibility, and I do not think that is fair. While I am doing all the housework after a long day of work, he plays video games. If you include housework, I work 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. daily during the week. His mother tells him it should be a 60-40 split, with me doing 60% of the work around the house and him 40% of it because he's the man and he makes more. I am sick of it. I'm sick of it for you, ma'am. She says, today he asked for breakfast. As I was making it, he went to a drive-thru and got a coffee and donuts. Breakfast was done and I couldn't find him. I fed it to the dogs. There's no respect and I feel like a doormat. I'm not happy, and honestly, I just want to end everything. I'm so depressed that this has become my life and reality. Is anyone else married to a man-child and have overbearing in-laws? Help on how to deal, or if divorce is my only option. Why would you want to spend the rest of your life dealing with this? You have an overbearing mother-in-law that tells you that you're going to hell. You're in a house that you have to take most of the responsibility for. There's no respect, and this dude is addicted to just about anything and everything. This sounds like nightmare fuel. What are you getting out of this that is like supportive, or is there any happiness? If she's saying, I'm resentful, I resent him on the outset, there's no recovering from this. She might as well make a game plan, figure out how to execute it, and run. Run, Forrest, run. So same Ty says, multiple addictions plus zero household help while you work full-time is already deal breaker territory. But the fact that his mom is basically running your marriage from the sidelines makes it even worse. Sorry you're dealing with this mess. And to that she says, thank you for validating how I feel. It is very isolating when I'm constantly being told by him and his family that I'm irrational about it. Kava Cali Go says, divorce him, what the F? And the thing is, I do want to remind us all that she is reaching out because she needs validation. A lot of the times, by the time women are writing these posts on Reddit, they are simply looking for validation for feeling normal human emotions. Something in her, even if she is not ready to say it out loud to him, she knows that this is not right. She's typing it up, and many times this is the impetus to start the game planning process to escape, and I hope that she does. We got aggravating run saying, mommy boy plus enabling mom equals divorce. Never going to change. We have Specialist Peach saying, girl, as hard as this sounds, don't even stress about the rest of it and just divorce him. You will be so much happier and have peace in your life. This is no way to live. Remarkable Rat says, honestly, any one of these factors would push me to seek marriage counseling, but all of them, and there's no plan to change or timeline, would make me call up a divorce lawyer. I'm sorry you are going through this. Every last one of these are divorce worthy on their own, like the addictions to basically everything. I'm sorry that he's going through things, but he needs to address them, and he does not need to pull you down with it. Having a mother that is so religious, that is overstepping boundaries, and the husband not stepping in, that is divorce worthy as well. Then being wanting you to be a trad wife and doing all of the housework, all of these put together, this is nightmare fuel, but any one of these could have been enough reasons to divorce. Top Skirt asked the question, do you have kids? Saying, I'd leave. I'm sorrier, easier said than done. And she says, no kids. 5 animals, he doesn't help with either. I do all of that also. So she doesn't have kids. They've only been married for 4 years. This woman needs to figure out how to disentangle and then go her separate ways. Necessary End says, nobody here can help you with this. I suppose you love this man and he has some good qualities. If so, engage a marriage counselor. Yeah, y'all can finish reading this if you want to. Professional Point, run, girl, run. I said that. Sassy Girl says, take a look at your next 15 years. Like, just imagine where it could be going to. Mindy says, sweetheart, just stop and take a deep breath. Close your eyes. Now think about the rest of your life and what you want it to be. Is he there, or are you by yourself and enjoying life? Imagine the weight being lifted and you can live freely doing whatever it is that makes you happy. Is he there? I think you know that this situation is getting more and more out of control as time gets wasted. You have one life to live with limited time. Are you going to spend it fighting for someone that is not fighting for you? Seems like a genuine waste of that limited time. I think you know what to do. You just need someone to validate it or tell you it's okay to leave. It's okay to leave, OP. Go have the life you want and don't make yourself smaller for someone that doesn't deserve you to begin with. I agree. Hopefully she got enough validation, even though there's not that many comments on this post. She was just simply looking for you're okay. It's okay to go ahead and go. There's nothing that is keeping this woman here. She has no kids. Yes, she has these animals, but she can figure out what to do with them, considering she said that she's the only one that takes care of them anyway. All right, y'all, chime in. Let me know what you think of this one. This woman posted in the marriage subreddit, and this post was pulled. She titled it, I no longer want to have sex. She doesn't because she's being coerced. So I'm just putting that trigger warning out there that we are going to be talking about coercion in this post. But this is something that we need to talk about because some people seem to act like if you're married as a woman, you're supposed to just give in. And this is what happens. This is what it feels like when you do just give in. So she's 38, he's 40. She says, I'm tired of the constant groping, touching, filling up, the constant whines for sex, even if we go 2 days without it. When I'm on my period, he will ask each and every day, how's it going? And if I'm back and how my lady bits are doing. He will constantly check in every single day of my period. And as soon as I'm done, will immediately want sex. The most he can go without alluding to it or outright asking is 1 day. If we have sex on Monday, I can at least rest for 1 day. But by Wednesday, the groping starts, the comments, the touching. And if I somehow manage to skip day 2, by Thursday morning, he'll outright ask for or demand it. Let 3 or 4 days go by and oh my God, he'll be a raging bull. Everything makes him angry. He gets snarky and mean and even starts ignoring the children. I realize he does this to hurt me because he knows my heart breaks when the kids are trying to engage with him and he ignores them. It's not even a love or a desire thing for him. I've gained weight and I honestly don't doll up the way I used to. It's an ownership thing. He feels it's his right. It's my duty. What's worse, he wants me to participate. I think I could tolerate it if he just got on with it and got off. But no, it must be a whole production. I must moan. I must be into it. And he makes a whole show of trying to make me orgasm. I don't even feel loved. It's just performative for his own ego. But I've learned if I orgasm, the next 2 or 3 times I can let him have this one and it goes by quickly. But that doesn't last long because his ego needs that boost that I'm definitely into it because he's just the best sex god ever. I'm so tired. Our marriage sucks. There are many other problems besides this. We have nothing in common. I'm just the wife appliance who must produce sex. I'm so tired. So she knows that she's a wife appliance. She has used these words herself. And it is dehumanizing when you are here simply as a utility. You're just supposed to be there to entertain and help this person get off. This man is not treating her like a human. He is treating her, and I will continue to say, like a masturbatory tool. This is coercion, and he's using his children as part of his abuse tactics, his mental abuse tactics towards this woman. When I talk about the birth rate needs to plummet to hell and make these dudes lonelier, because why would you want to be in a situation like this? This is one of the main reasons why I will continue to say that women need to make sure that they have financial security and plans B, C, D, E, F, G, elemental P, all of the plans. Women need to have all of that because there is no reason to stay in a marriage like this when all you are there for is to be at this man's beck and call. This is not how you're supposed to live. This is a 38-year-old woman. And based on this, I don't know if she's working or not. I don't know. But this is one of the main reasons why I will continue to say women in their 20s need to make sure they are getting their education and getting career experience and making sure their financial foundation is sound. Because even if you do get married, or even if you do become a stay-at-home mom or whatnot, you need to be able to up and leave a situation like this. Obviously, there is no physical abuse here, but there is coercion. She's saying, I wish he would just get on top and get it over with. That is no way to live. Absolutely not. She needs to figure out how to get out. Even though the post is pulled, the comments are still there. Primary Jackfruit says, this sounds awful and I'm so sorry. While I do believe sex is incredibly important in a marriage, you should never be coerced, made to feel guilty, or be shunned for not wanting to. No means no, even in a marriage. I don't have advice other than I think you know this isn't healthy, but this is the right place for solidarity and if you need a listening ear. Lock Beginning says, no one should be treated like a damn appliance. If it ain't mutual and respectful, it ain't love. Keep your boundaries and don't let him gaslight you. Julie Hart says, my ex-husband was just like that. I finally left with my sons with nothing but some clothes and $150. I couldn't stand the constant sexual coercion and abuse anymore. The groping, the comments. It's about power and control, not love. That was 16 years ago. It wasn't easy, but life's never been better. You are being abused. If you decide you've had enough, there is help available. I know because I now work in a shelter and I'm now married to a man who never would act that way with me. I'm so very sorry that this is happening to you. It's a horrible way to live. It takes over your whole life. Real Mermaid says, you're amazing. $150 and you made it out. She says, I had help. One of the reasons I do what I do now, I want to help other women get out of untenable situations like OP is in. But thank you. This person, UK, says, I agree. This is a form of abuse and control. He wants access to you at all times. It's demeaning. Please leave. I am totally sure that X-Dex is a man. He says, he isn't right, but how is this abuse? La Luna Domina says, how is it not? He psychologically tortures her into allowing access to her body by bullying his kids. He doesn't even seem to see her as a person. This is unequivocally psychological abuse. Shh says, she's having sex she doesn't want to be having, or her husband verbally abuses the whole family. Are you serious with this? Lean into her abuser? Do better? Oh my goodness. Do better. Some of these people really need to do better. La Luna again saying, what the F? He is bullying her into sex and bullying their children to punish her if she doesn't obey. You don't think that's wrong? What is wrong with you? Icy Resolve says, if my husband purposely ignored our kid because I happened to not put out for a few days, he wouldn't touch me sexually ever again until he decided to grow the F up. That's unacceptable and so manipulative. I'm sorry, that's who you're married to. I wanted to get to this comment from Sack No Not saying, my ex-husband was like this. I got the ick so bad, I'm not sure I ever want to have sex again. I haven't had sex in over a year and I don't miss it at all. We are seeing so many of these posts where women are opting out of dating. They're opting out of sex. They're opting out of living with people, typically men, simply because of how men are acting and treating women. This woman is like, I don't miss it at all. I don't want to be touched at all. And that is where I'm seeing a lot of women go to. I really do hope that more and more women start to see these things so that they can try to navigate around it. And sometimes you won't be able to navigate around it without going through some things first. But the important thing is to make sure that you have your money together, because she's going through this right now. She needs to figure out, this is not what I want. I do not want to be in this situation again. How am I going to get out of this? And she needs to have the money to pick up herself and her children and walk away from this dude. I also wanted to get to this part from C Willingness saying this. It's also super damaging for the kids to witness this sort of behavior, because they'll believe that what mom and dad do, how they behave, is what a healthy marriage is supposed to look like. And subconsciously, they'll reproduce that in their own relationships, either by being that negative influence or by seeking out a partner with those traits. OP, you're in an ugly spot dealing with the narcissist, either with children involved. OP, you're in an ugly spot dealing with the narcissist with children involved. Please find a way to either separate or hard correct, if it's even possible, your husband's abusive behavior. It's hurting more than just you. So I just wanted to make sure that we all understood that you have got to get out of these situations, not just for yourself. Yes, you need to have a sense of self-preservation, but for your children's sake. All right, y'all. I know this was a hard one. I know this has been some hard videos today, but they are so important for us to continue to have these conversations. So continue to like, comment, and share.
Yesterday, we make plan, go to Jennifer's house for dinner. But Jennifer, she sent me text message. She cancel. Why she cancel? Oh, sorry, Samira, we are all sick. We have the flus. All of us, we have the flus. The kids, they call me FaceTimes. They're like this. They're, hi, Tata Samira, we are very sick. Jennifer, her house freeze. Almost it's snowing in the house, Jennifer's house. The kids, they walk in the house with no sock. And they take shower. And their hair wet. And they go outside. Is this how you get flu, actually? Like this, the kids, like this. Tata Samira, help us, we freeze here, we are so cold and we have the flus. I have one cousin, she died from this one, Leila, her name Leila, she have wet hair, she go outside, the wind hit her head like this, she gets the flu, 1 hour, she in the hospital and she die right away. I never ever in my life get the flu, because I drink this tea every day, and the priest, he put oil here in the church. No flu. But haram, Jennifer, they have the flus, they are very sick, and they don't want us to see the kids,
Sometimes when I find myself in certain situations, I have to say to myself, Linda, don't be crazy. But my name's not Linda, so I'm gonna get on that crazy train today.